The Wyrley and Essington Canal was opened in two sections. The first section, from Horsley Fields in Wolverhampton to Sneyd Junction, with branches to Wyrley, Essington and Birch Hills, were under the 1793 Act. The second, authorised by the 1794 Act, was from Birch Hills to Hatherton Junction, with branches to Door End and Lord Hayes Quarries. This is Ogley Junction, where the still navigable Anglesey branch departs from the former main line of the Wyrley and Essington at the top of Ogley Locks. Today, the site is occupied by a thriving boatyard. The Anglesey branch takes its name from the Marquess of Anglesey, who owned many collieries in the area. Originally a feeder to the main canal, it was made navigable in 1850 to tap the vast volume of coal traffic on its banks. Near to the end of the arm were loading chutes, which spanned the canal, allowing direct loading into the boats. Note the Hampton boat on the right. This view, taken from the dam of Chasewater Reservoir, shows the basin packed with boats. This basin has always been known as Norton Pool. Norton Pool remains much the same today, except the only visiting boats are private or those of canal campaigners. Here the redoubtable Chris Coburn is winding Progress to head for Walsall on the 1998 Progress Appeal Cruise. Bearing silent witness to the vanished trading boats are the remains of chutes at the south end of Norton Pool. These have since been refurbished for posterity. The Anglesey branch crosses the South Staffs Railway on its way to Ogley Junction, where the blue brick railway age bridges bear testimony to the years when the Anglesey branch was made navigable. Progress is framed in the arch of the towpath bridge over the entrance to the Lichfield Canal. Two former lock cottages stand guard over the buried top lock at Ogley, which is probably fully intact. The first flight at Ogley comprised of locks 1 to 6, in a distance of around 600 yards. Today, a garden centre and several residences are built on or use the infilled canal for access. I must stress that much of the line is on private land, and permission must be sought to view the remains. Still intact is the top paddle gear of Lock 3, which also still retains its upper and lower gates as gaunt reminders that the canal is only sleeping, for now. Evidence of the mouth of Lock 4 with what would appear to be a concrete dam across the mouth. The bywash weir at Lock 4 and the remains of the top gate still firmly shut. Remember the bridge across the tail of Lock 1? Well, you'll see it now spans the tail of Lock 4, and note the grooves cut by countless tow lines. The canal is completely infilled on the approach to Lock 5. From the air, this view shows Lock 5 and the site of Warren House or Barracks Lane Bridge. Lock 5 is substantially intact and appears to only need excavating with a few minor repairs to become usable. Lock 6 is in the immediate foreground with one coping stone visible. With the remains of side ponds clearly visible, the canal heads towards Locks 7 and 8. Lock 7 is buried, but Lock 8 remains totally intact and in good order. The canal here often holds water, and the old Lock 8 simply waits for the day when the boats return. The Birmingham Northern Relief Road will pass through the line of the canal below Lock 8, altering the landscape forever and requiring the restored canal to have an aqueduct over the carriageways. The line of the canal looks out over green fields, but by the time you're viewing this film, the scene will be changing and the multiple lanes of the new road will dominate the view. A Canal Side Pub is the next feature of interest. The boat stands alongside the dual carriageway A461, whose widening caused the loss of Boat Bridge. In 1997, the 200th anniversary of the opening of the Wyrley and Essington was celebrated at the boat, and a plaque was unveiled and can now be viewed in the lounge at the pub. The neglected bed of the canal listens silently to the celebrations of its birthday, and the remains of Boat Bridge await the day when the reopening celebrations are to be heard. The canal now approaches the dual carriageway A5, where immediately after crossing, the second flight of locks 9 to 12 commenced. The lock cottage still remains, but is now a private residence. Locks 10 and 11 are not visible. The A461 once again crosses the canal at Muckley Corner Bridge. This is a modern concrete structure, still completely intact, although the canal bed has been infilled by a local landowner. The buried site of Lock 12 stands forlorn, overlooking the site of the demolished Coppice Lane Bridge. A pipe bears testimony to there once being a bridge here. Thankfully, the bed of the canal is now intact and looks like a canal as it heads away towards the Pipe Hill Embankment. The Pipe Hill Embankment brings the canal round the back of a pumping station, which was once served by the canal. The embankment is an imposing structure and actually incorporates a small aqueduct for a stream. It still holds some water and will surely make a very pleasant section of canal to cruise upon. The A461 crosses the canal again at Pipe Hill Bridge, where the course of the canal shares the bridge with a railway. At Wall Lane, the third flight of locks could be found. These are locks 13 to 18. Today their sites are difficult to make out, but there were large side ponds, and the perimeters and level changes allow the onlooker to identify the sites. From Wall Lane, a magnificent view of Lichfield is obtained. A view that will reflect in the massive side ponds and greet boatmen of the future when on the flight, just as it did in days gone by, as in this old postcard. Today, the hedgerows belie the line of the canal and remind us there is much work to be done. Viewed from Fossway Lane, the flight appears to resemble the site of a medieval lost village. Humps and depressions conceal the site of once active side ponds and lock chambers. Locks 13 and 14 are buried, but lock 15 is still visible within a horse paddock. and what does show of 15 indicates the structure to be complete. I wonder if these fine beasts know of their many equine friends who once passed this way. This mid-1950s view shows locks 16 and 17 derelict, but in basic good order. Nowadays these pair are buried, but are believed to be completely intact. Almost unbelievably, these nurseries once roofed over lock 17 and used it for a greenhouse. Probably the most unusual use for a lock ever. Although the bridge has been levelled, the lockkeeper's cottage still stands. We are now approaching the outskirts of Lichfield. Whilst we shall follow the line of the original canal in this part of the video, it must be stressed that a number of diversions of the route will have to take place when restoration proceeds. The line is still infilled as we approach Lock 18. Lock 18 comes as quite a surprise. Excavated and fully restored by the Trust and other volunteer groups, Lock 18 is a splendid spectacle. It was found to be in truly excellent condition and needed only minor repairs. All that is required are gates and paddle gearing for this to be operative. Further towards Lichfield is the buried site of Lock 19, close to the Sandfields waterworks. The works was once served by the canal, both for unloading fuel and for providing cooling water for condensers. Today, most of the buildings have been demolished, except for the engine house. However, this fine, imposing blue brick building contains a silent secret. Let's go inside. Last run in the 1920s, Sandfield's engine remains intact. This huge beam engine is actually the fourth engine to occupy this building, replacing 3 previous engines built by James Watt in 1857 and 1865. The present engine was built by Jonah and George Davis of Tipton, the last engine the firm built as they went bankrupt shortly afterwards. When new in 1873, it cost the works the princely sum of £6,690. The engine raised 2 million gallons per day, doing this steadily at a rate of 7 strokes a minute. That's nearly 1,400 gallons per minute, almost 200 gallons per stroke. Incredible engineering. She ran daily until a new engine was commissioned in 1924, leaving this one as a standby. I wonder if it could still be made to work. Preservation of the engine is assured, however, and to return to full working order, there are a few obstacles to be overcome. There's no boiler, no canal to cool the condenser, and a lot of the pump is missing. However, a small preservation group, the Friends of Sandfields, have been formed to look after the engine and help restoration. Today, modern electric pumps do the same job in the building which still overlooks what was the Lichfield Canal. Chesterfield Road Bridge is but a hump in the road, and the original route now enters the city of Lichfield. The canal snaked its way under Birmingham Road, then the mainline railway. Birmingham Road Bridge survives, partially intact, but the railway bridge is not traceable. The canal bed appears as a wide grass strip. Locks 20 to 23 have disappeared. However, St John's Bridge is still intact and used as a pedestrian underpass. This is the site of Lock 23 and St John's Wharf. And looking on from the well-preserved bridge, we view the site of Gallows Wharf. The canal sweeps round, passing the site of Cricket Lane Bridge to come alongside Tamworth Road. Here can be found the site of Lock 24, with the lockkeeper's cottage still standing on the wharf. Between Lock 24 and 25, the towpath wall has been re-established with the help from the local heritage initiative, and this leads us to the partially restored Lock 25. Lock 25 has been excavated and restored by the Trust, Waterways Recovery Group and other volunteers. A land drain is set in the bottom, but this will be removed when the canal is re-watered. The next lock along, number 26, is also undergoing current restoration. Once again, the land drain is visible and will in due course be removed. The site of Lock 27 is now buried and the canal obliterated by the A38. Another lock cottage still stands alongside Tamworth Road to remind us the canal was once there. Looking back towards the Tamworth Road, somewhere in this field is Lock 28, and the canal course came straight through the gate. The house alongside the lane is obviously a former canal property, and the lane itself was once the towpath. Another view across the site of Lock 28 and the former maintenance yard buildings. From Darnford Lane, the course of the canal heads off towards Lock 29. The original line to Lock 29 will not be used, and Lock 29 will stand as a monument to the original canal builders. A new section of canal is excavated here, together with a new lift bridge having been installed. The resolute brickwork of Lock 29 now muses over the latest stretch of the Lichfield Canal to be restored and re-watered. A short stretch has been lined with bentonite clay matting and re-watered, allowing boats to return. The piling has all been sponsored and carries the names of the donors. Over to Eric Wood.
Hello! First boat for 53 years!
Looking away towards Lock 30, the piling stretches over the dry bed. But for how long? The line of the canal is intact as it wends its way to Lock 30, the final lock on the descent from Ogley. Unfortunately, Capper's Lane Bridge is demolished and severs the watered canal. The section from Capper's Lane onwards provides moorings for the Lichfield Cruising Club and is in good order. These scenes serve to remind us of what we shall see on the other stretches when restoration takes place. The canal terminates at Huddlesford Junction, where it joins the busy waters of the Coventry Canal. The Junction House and Toll Office are now the headquarters of the Lichfield Cruising Club, whose efforts have produced a finely restored building as their clubhouse. Perhaps in the not-too-distant future, they will welcome boats to and from the BCN via Lichfield, allowing their club once again to look out on a truly active junction on what will be a further addition to Britain's navigable inland waterways. Restoration of the two canals has been active for some years. The combined efforts of the Trust, Waterway Recovery Group and other societies has seen a great deal of work done. Towpath refurbishment, bridge, lock and culvert reconstruction, just some of the tasks which have been undertaken, all of which are now breathing life into the line of the canals once more. A sponsored piling scheme, the brainchild of Jan and John Horton, has provided extensive bank protection at Darnford. Each pile carries the name of the sponsor. A lift bridge was obtained for the Darnford section. Extensive use of volunteer effort saw this new icon to the navigation rise into place. Many varied skills and knowledge of construction plant were involved with the reconstruction of the bridge, but all of this was soon provided by the seemingly work-hungry volunteers. The piling scheme mentioned earlier has funded enough piles to line the Darnford section, and it's quite entertaining to stroll along and read the varied inscriptions. Families, firms, societies, and even Hoggy's cat can be found stamped into posterity on the tags adorning each pile. Wonderful stuff. The lift bridge once adorned the Peak Forest Canal, was then taken out of service and salvaged by the Chesterfield Canal Society, who found they couldn't use it. It was then offered to the Lichfield and Hatherton, who had a ready use for it, assisting with a farm track crossing. How about that? The bridge engineering was overseen by John Horton, who was really pleased that the bridge operated perfectly, the first time it was tried. A final photo pose before many a well-earned pint. The Waterway Recovery Group are a familiar sight on the line of the canal, but on this occasion they were using the Darnford site as a summer training camp for the volunteers. It's easy to imagine that Wyrgeys are the equivalent of yesteryear's navvies, and today they're helping to reshape that which the interval of time has partially destroyed. Their work throughout the country will lie as testimony to future generations and waterway users to an extraordinary group of volunteers who are assisting with waterway regeneration in every part of the system in a huge variety of ways. Good luck to them all. We owe them a great debt of gratitude. Involvement of the Trust with other sources of finance has seen a new towpath built at Lichfield with assistance from a local heritage initiative grant. And this is representative of many links the Trust is forming to assist with regeneration of the route. Much work, however, still remains. The passage of time has not been kind to the Lichfield Canal, although in May 2001, water once again flowed into this once lost navigation. The locks at Churchbridge will never operate again, and they will never be restored, as the land has been severely altered and sold off, eradicating their line. The Hatherton Canal will also not terminate here. It will follow a diverted course and approach Churchbridge from an altered direction. At Churchbridge, the canal will need to pass under the Birmingham Northern Relief Road, and culverts are needed to be in place to aid the restoration. The canal will then follow a new course using some existing waters to join up with a former mine tramway route leading to Grove Basins on the navigable portion of the Cannock Extension Canal. This will form a new junction on the Cannock Extension, which will link the Hatherton to the Birmingham Canal navigations once more. The Lichfield Canal may require several diversions. Ogley locks may require to be bypassed to the south. An aqueduct is then required over the Birmingham Northern Relief Road, and if all goes to plan, this should be built when the motorway is constructed. If all goes to plan. The saga of the provision for adequate crossings of the motorway is now a somewhat hackneyed story, but it's essential for restoration to proceed. Diversions are required in the outlying area of Lichfield due to extensive building of commercial and domestic buildings on the former line. The A38 will also require a shift of the line to accommodate the navigation passing through it. At Darnford, part of the new diverted line has been excavated, leaving the old Lock 29 isolated as a monument to the former canal route. These diversions will enable the Lichfield and Hatherton canals to once more connect the Coventry, BCN and Staffs Worcester canals together, opening up more cruising and leisure potential on the Midlands waterway circuits. What an exciting proposition.
That's right. So you see this side is the Hatherton Canal, about 6 miles, which would reconnect into the northern BCN here. And on the Lichfield Canal, 7 miles, which would connect through to the Coventry Canal. This was built 200 years ago, and restoration is proceeding rather well, particularly at the eastern end, where piling is being driven, a new lift bridge has been installed.
In 1998, the Progress Appeal was launched. Backed by E.P. Barras, its aim was to raise the plight of the Lichfield and Hatherton and other endangered waterways and schemes. The brainchild of Lawrence Hogg, the appeal was supported by Chris Coburn, who was to travel to many towns and cities to gain support for waterway restoration whilst en route to Carnarvon.
In 1990. I see a new era of success for canals in the future, and I want the Lichfield and Hatherton canals to be part of that success. We have a great network of canals in the country, a great network locally in Staffordshire. The Lichfield and Hatherton canals would add to the success of the network in Staffordshire.
The cruise was dubbed The Cut to Carnarvon, and professional guided publicity certainly kept the idea in the public gaze. The arrival at Carnarvon was certainly a hero's welcome for Chris Coburn.
Through the reception of Streetley Hall, where they laid out the bar downs for us. Moved on to Walsall, where in the town hall we had a very warm civic reception by the Mayor of Walsall, where they've invested a huge amount of money in developing the canal system there. Onwards, we were met by the Member of Parliament for Stafford, David Kidney, at Tetley Boat Centre. he is very, very keen to see that the Lichfield and Hatherton canals do succeed.
A token load of slate was sent back to the Midlands using water transport, without the need for transshipment as in the olden days. It linked the Welsh Slate Museum with the Black Country Museum. Progress headed back through the Menai Straits. She probably broke the world narrowboat speed records. But she and Chris did achieve national publicity, which put the Lichfield and Hatherton right into the public circle. And that's what the team running the appeal wanted. The letters of support poured in. Carlton TV heard of the exploits, and in the second series of Waterworld made the Lichfield and Hatherton restoration a major front-running story to the series, which was broadcast during prime-time viewing hours. What an achievement. At Earl's Court in January 2001, the British Marine Industries Federation, together with British Waterways, organised a presentation in support of the cause. A number of celebrities also gave their support. Prunella Scales, Timothy West, and me.
Come together with the canal restoration and say both are important. They're building the new roads. We're restoring the old roads. Surely we can come together and build one aqueduct and one tunnel. Now, before it's too late.
National press and TV slammed the cause into the public arena. The Lichfield and Hatherton Canals Restoration Trust was established in 1988. Its principal aims are to promote the restoration of both the Lichfield and Hatherton canals where possible, and to aim for the construction of a new navigable link to join the Hatherton Canal to the Cannock Extension Canal. The Trust needs your support. If you're watching this and aren't a member, please consider joining. The cost of joining will help you to become a member of one of the most important restoration schemes we have underway. The Trust promotes the cause in various ways. In May 2001, a public forum was held in Lichfield. Such was the interest and response that a full house was witnessed. Various speakers underlined the needs of the Trust, but it wasn't all serious stuff, and there was at least a little touch of humour.
I know how important you feel costume is. and you've made comment on my costume before. David, please accept this little photograph of us doing our bit, going across the channel, and thank you for your help and continuing the promotion. David, thank you.
This is terrible. I teased Chris when the film, the Chris going across the channel and into Europe on his narrowboat. I've never seen anything like it. Have you all seen that film of Chris? I thought it was so brave, but I thought he wore this a bit too much. And so at Earl's Court I said, I think what you've done is wonderful, but I hate the costume. So I've got to eat humble pie, haven't I? Now take me seriously.
The public forum brought the needs of the Trust to the fore and showed what could be achieved. We'll never see Churchbridge locks restored. This wonderful flight on this part of the missing links is lost forever. We shall never see the coal trade and its many boats return, or the upper part of the Cannock extension now almost obliterated. But while all this becomes history, there is a new beginning underway. The Lichfield and Hatherton canals are being restored. They're being restored now, but they'll require a lot of help. Boats will pass through these locks once again. The paddle gears will rattle, and the water will flow. These canals will one day become through routes again, and will have survived all those years of slumber and neglect. All this will be achieved with volunteer help, combined with the Waterways Trust, British Waterways, and many other bodies which will link the Birmingham Canal navigations to the Staffs and Worcester Canal once again, and in doing so will replace the missing links. The provision of the culverts at Churchbridge is paramount to the restoration of the line. With his views on the Hatherton, let me hand you over to that veteran waterway campaigner, Chris Coburn. This time, without the sou'wester.
Well, last time we were here was a few years ago, and at that time there was really little hope of getting these crossings put in. So we've come on a long way. We're not there yet, but everything is looking pretty hopeful now. And this bridge is a nice example of L&H work, Dennis Cooper having done much of the work himself personally to completely restore it. So here we have a nice bit of canal with lots of water in it and a totally restored bridge. More of the Hatherton branch and yet another bridge. This bridge is in fine order, will need to be raised a little, but no enormous problem. The main thing here is just the amount of water, and I can honestly say I've taken progress on canals with considerably less water than this. And over here to the left, the fields, which are just slightly below canal level, lending themselves perfectly for development of offline moorings for the benefit of the community in this area, and of course particularly those wanting to have boats that live in Walsall and the depressed West Midlands areas. A great opportunity. Well, the line of the canal originally was just in front of me over here. The restored canal will follow a line quite a way over behind the digger here, but the interesting thing is the entrance here to Hawkins Basin that has been exposed while they're preparing to build for the approach road to the Birmingham Northern Relief Road. Brickwork there in really perfect condition, but of course that's not of concern to us because we can't come through here with the canal route anyway, the preserved canal route, because of this factory estate that's been built. This is the stream which is called the Washbrook and will become the navigable part of the Hatherton. The road is being built across here, and the culverts that we've been fighting to get put in are right here where we're standing. There has to be a culvert through underneath the road for the stream. All we're looking for is for that to be made large enough to be navigable.
Good morning, Lawrence on Productions.
Hoggy, it's David here.
Morning, David.
Good morning. What an incredible day this is. Have you seen the press releases?
I have.
They're wonderful. This is really fabulous news, Hoggy. All the effort has paid off. Now, we mustn't forget that we still need to fund the aqueduct on the Lichfield Canal, so let's keep the pressure up and get the whole job done. See you soon, Hoggy.
Cheers, David.
Bye-bye.